I'm going to make a little bit of a helper video here for people with 3800 series supercharged or non-supercharged cars. Okay, first of all, of course, I got the supercharger. And main thing you got to replace on these cars is that little elbow right there. You see it? Your vacuum lines a lot of times on these cars will bust. All these vacuum lines here, which I had to replace all of them. Alright, usually another thing is your coolant sensor. Your coolant sensor is, let's see, the radiator hose. See it right there? The little green thing, that's the coolant sensor. Okay. This is your mass airflow sensor right here. And then also if you have a problem with your transmission's automatic shifter, it's back here in the back. Right there. Also with these cars, you got your sunroofs. The drains clog up on these cars real easy. Let's see what else we can give you an idea on. Okay, replacing that elbow, back to the elbow. Replacing the elbow, you've got to pull the bracket off the back of the alternator. Loosen up the bracket that runs from the alternator to the other side of the engine, which is over here. Of course, take your belt off. You want to disconnect your ground battery, also do that first. Once you get the alternator out of the way, there's two or three bolts that hold the bracket to that elbow. And you just pop it loose and then pop the elbow out, and it's basically simple to put back together. With the supercharger, if you got to rebuild your supercharger, basically you'll take out all these little bolts on your snout. You'll have to take the alternator off most likely. I haven't rebuilt mine yet, but if it's got a knocking sound to it, then it's probably the supercharger's coupler acting up. The coupler is going to be sitting right here inside. You also want to drain your oil first, and using like a some type of suction to suck the oil out. You can go to ZZP and order a lot of this, just about everything for this car. But basically you can pull this supercharger snout off and you'll have two gears, and one is for each set of blades. You have a blade here and a blade here. And these gears connect to each other, and the coupler on the inside is plastic, and the holes will waller out, causing it to sound like knocking sound. I mean, that's about the hardest things to find and figure out on these cars. All the ABS also will cause your ABS light to come on and your traction control to not turn on. Usually, if you put a scanner to it, it'll tell you which wheel, but a lot of times it is the wheel hub which holds the caliper and holds the rotor in place. A lot of times it's the wiring to that. And I've replaced the wiring to mine, rewiring using the old plug-ins, and that wasn't the problem, so it's actually in the hub that breaks. That's it.